We welcome you to the Priscilla R. Tyson Cultural Arts Center for our Conversations and Coffee on this 9th day of the January month. Isn't it amazing? We're just starting out. And what year is this? Let's hear it. 2025. Amazing. Well, I'm happy to be with you. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, and I coordinate this Conversations and Coffee with all of you who are so present and wonderful. And our artist is Rick Borg. Yes, welcome, Rick. You have an amazing story of your call to be an artist. You share that you grew up on the east side of Columbus, across from Walnut Ridge High School, and you're always doing well at art. And at the same time, as a boy, good at our athletics. Rick claimed to be the best tetherball player in the school in the 5th grade. The family moved to Worthington Hills in 1969, and Rick took up golf. He was good at golf and became one of the best junior players in Ohio. But what happened to his art? With sports as a background, art classes at high school bothered him, even though he still excelled it, but did less. After a year on the golf team at Ohio State, he needed a major and took art because he knew he could do it. He fell in love with art again because he experienced freedom in pursuing it. My art took off, Rick says. He went to graduate school at OSU because he could get a studio to paint in and a little money to live on. He could paint all he wanted, which was a lot, he shares. Rick got his degree and tried living off his art sales while working at Larry's Bar. But he said he was broke and stressed. He worked driving a truck, delivering art around Ohio and around the country. While working at Larry's Bar, he became the fix-up man for the building. And art in itself, is that not? Over the years, Rick shares, he has become better and better at all sorts of fix-up situations to support his art. It took the pressure off selling art. He has been sharing and exhibiting his art almost constantly since the early 80s. He sold many paintings. He loves experiencing people enjoying his work. I could sense that today as people are going, enjoying. That gave you joy too. In 2011, Rick moved to Milo Arts, an artist community. He paints and works a lot to keep the place going. It's become home for him. And we at the Cultural Arts Center are delighted and hope you are finding home with us for this time. This time, January 10th through February 15th of your show, and the opening is tomorrow night. So you are finding home with us. Thank you, Rick, for being with us and sharing today your wonderful expression of creativity and what else would you call it? I'd say joy. Yes, I experienced that from you. Thank you. All right, take over.
All right. Well, the only thing, back when I was living over Larry's, I was trying to, at first, live off sales of my art. And then I couldn't pull that off too well without being super stressed out. So I did get a job at Larry's. So it wasn't the same time I was working. Anyway, that was the only. All right, now on with the show here. I guess I'll go to the next picture. Although maybe I'll just start with this one. This is the piano zebra over there. And we've taken a couple of pianos apart over there at Milo Arts, and I've kept some of the parts. So I laid it all out on the floor, saw this nice zebra, and then how to put it together. So at first I put wood behind it, and it was going to be too bulky, too heavy, and it took a lot of work trying. I ended up putting screws in like each one of those, like a couple of screws each, and it was more work than I usually like to do. So, but I like it, and it's unique. All right, on with the next. This is some kind of barnwood that I found, and painted this guy on here. I just call him a farmer. I guess I had the eyes at one point in another spot, so I left him that way. He's got 4 eyes, but pretty straightforward, and people seem to like it. Let's see.
You enjoy color. Color just jumps out at us.
Right. Color, yeah. Usually my colors are kind of warm.
Uh-huh.
Bisquick, man, those boxes are so sturdy, it just gave me an idea to use it for something, and I put that guy together, and I like him. Bisquick, man. What's the salt head? Let's see. Oh, Rocket Man I did this back in 1990, and I just felt like putting it in the show because I just felt like putting it in. I haven't showed it for so long that it's a good one, and I usually have it up on my ceiling, and I just thought I'd bring it down. This one's not in the show. This is the apple pickers, and it didn't make the cut. But it's a nice one, though. This is I guess I call it Story with a Green-Faced Woman or something like that, but that's just a title to give it. It doesn't have any, it's more of a daydream where I just drew something out and painted it in and like it.
So where do you find a lot of your supplies?
The wood, I just see it out and about. I don't look for it that much, but if I see a piece that I think I'll like, I don't like them too heavy, and I like them worn out usually, or sometimes, and they have to feel right. So sometimes new wood, too heavy, I don't like it. And sometimes it just doesn't feel good, no, I won't use it. I take furniture apart. For many years, I've been good at that. I used to live on campus, busting old furniture apart and taking these thin panels out and things and the tops and all sorts of stuff. And I'll paint on other things too, metal sometimes, but mostly wood. This one's Summer Sleep, and I'd done a Summer Sleep painting back in, early 80s probably. Yeah, 81 or something. And this was a redo of it, where in the summer you have the window open and you're sleeping with hardly anything on, and that was the idea of it. And let's see. And this red horse, this is on some kind of, I don't know what this came from really, but this is metal all around here, and I ripped it apart. Oh, these are some kind of clips for kind of a box of some kind that you close. And I drew it out and painted it, and I enjoy it. And it's mostly all oil paint on these paintings. That one's got some crayon that I drew it out with first. This guy here, this is one of the few that I had a plan for, and then it worked right out, just the way I planned it, where I thought, okay, I found this bundt cake pan, and I had the idea of, I already did a painting on the back, and I worked on it a while, but then I saw this bunt cake thing and had the thought of doing this. And so now my thoughts weren't extremely defined, but I thought, yeah, I'm going to put that on and make the teeth and put the stripes on, and it came out just the way I had thought it would. So often I'll have a plan, or I might have a plan, and then if I start and it doesn't go smoothly, then I'll just scrap the plan and just go with whatever's coming out of my hand.
And that wonderful piece of wood.
Yeah, that's a weathered piece of wood. And yeah, it's kind of lightweight too. All right. This is a drawn out circus, and I just painted it in lightly. It's up there. And the guy up here, he's supposed to be walking on a wire. That was my idea. It doesn't really look like it. And in the process, this little speck shot down there just like his penis, and so I left it there. I thought, oh, that's good. It seems fateful. I'll just leave. He's a macho man. This dog, out in our yard at Mile of Arts, we've got these dogs running around. This one dog looked a little like this, Navi, and I think he might have inspired it a little bit. But when I drew this one out, I thought, I don't care if I make it proportional or not. I just want to have fun drawing the legs and whatever. And then I painted it in. I think I drew it first. And then there's not much paint on there. It's just one-shot deal. And I like the simplicity of it. And so it's a good one. And that's a nice thin board that's just a panel from some kind of furniture, I guess. This one's not in the show either. Cat on the Prowl. See that cat back there? He's coming after those ducks or whatever they are. And the framing was pretty recent. The framing came years after the actual painting, but I like it. Let's see. Every Moment Holy. So that was just a thought I had at some point and drew it out and then painted it just, I didn't plan the way I painted it, so it's kind of sporadic, but I liked the way I went about it, and it kept it simple, and there's something sort of powerful about it, I think. And that's a lightweight, something off of some furniture. This guy, this was just some sort of abstract drawing thing that I did that I like, and it's on an old piece of wood, but it's pretty neat, I think. For me, I like it. Let's see. And this is another one I drew out and just had a good time drawing it and painting it in and wrote where and mistake. And this is what I'd say daydreaming, because that's what I'm doing. I'm daydreaming, and I don't even know what it's about, And then I kind of like the way this looks like the roof, which is yellow, but this is the background, which is yellow. I kind of like the way that doesn't make sense in a way, but I like it. And then, so that's that. I have a good sentimental feeling for that one. And that's on a nice old piece of wood. And I like them sometimes when they're not really squared off. Sometimes I enjoy those like that. And this guy, you can see that's on some kind of siding kind of panel. And a nice red horse, a guy with a lasso. And pretty good color. Okay. All right, let's see. This one's on the other side of this wall, and I drew that one out and painted it in. And then I attached some pieces of wood up there, too. And that's another one. This is like a daydream where I'm just drawing things and don't... This lady's on the tracks, and the train's coming, and she's yelling. And so there's all sorts of different things going along. So sometimes if you wake up from a dream in the morning, you don't know what it was about, you know, and it's kind of that way with some of these paintings. But at the same time, they seem meaningful somehow when you're doing it. This is within awareness, and I did the painting on this sort of scrappy panel, and then framed it with all that wood, and I like the way there's air around it, and it's within awareness. The idea is that awareness is before anything else, you know, before anything that you're seeing, any object. So then everything that you're seeing is within awareness. That's the basic thought about it. This one, I woke up in fear. This was during the Ohio State Fair, because there's a helicopter goes over Milo like every 5 minutes. And this year it didn't, but this must have been the year before, I think. And it looks kind of happy, but somehow that day I just woke up in fear, and I just painted, you know, there's a volcano going, and I don't know, there's a house that looks like it's maybe being destroyed, but so I was just expressing my my paranoia at the moment, I guess, and then I framed it. But I really like this one. Let's see. Now this one, originally it was turned the other way. I think it was longer, and it was a snake. And someone had given me hundreds of these magic markers and things. And I had the head of the snake here, and it was even longer. And originally, all I did was use the magic markers to draw out the snake and draw it all out. But the magic marker ink faded, and it just started going through changes. And probably for 20 years, I kept working on it and did different faces and just changed it a lot. Cut it in half, tried 2 different paintings and put it back together, and added paint tubes, and so it's gone through a lot, but I don't think it'll change anymore. So it's just someone in a headdress, but I don't know if I think of it as a man or a woman particularly. Let's see. Oh, this is like row, row, row your boat. I did a painting years ago with the same idea, and I had a real piece of wood. I think this is a real piece of wood on the actual painting, and then for the tree. And so it's similar to the one I did years before, and I might even have written row, row, row your boat on the other one. This one I just call it row your boat, but so I like the landscape and the feel of it. I like the outdoors a lot. I don't row boats, though. This one, my neighbors think this is a woman that they really like, and I don't think of it as a woman or a man particularly. I think I might have thought of it as a man at first, but I liked the frame, and then I painted it that yellow, and it really set it off. And then the painting itself seemed sort of unfinished to me at one point, but someone really liked it, and I thought, I do like it too that way, and so that's the way it is. This is just now he's not in the show either. That's not a real big one, a red man standing, and the same neighbor who liked the other one likes this one a lot too. And I like him, he's kind of got a good feel about him. That's what I like to look at the art for a long time and live with it as I walk through the halls, and if it bothers me, then I'll go over it again or whatever. I don't want to look at it anymore. So it's a great way to figure out your work, because if you have it just stuck in your studio, you don't get as good a feel. Even bringing it over here, some of them didn't look as good to me as I thought they might. This one's not in the show either, but it's similar in that, a guy standing up and he's got stripes. And this one's in the show. I'd had this one framed at one point. I thought this was some really good color when I did it. I did this one and that guy down at the end, that upright guy standing at the same day. So those colors are similar. They're got a nice, warm feel about them. And I still have some mixed feelings on this one, but
I noticed how you used that warm feeling when I walked in from the cold and was so met by the beauty of the color, and there's a humor about what you're doing too. And I had already prepared and realized that you worked in maintenance. You keep things going, and in the meantime, do this wonderfully creative endeavor. And no wonder you frame your work, because you're working so much about framing and taking care of the buildings that you're taking care of.
I like unique frames. Occasionally I'll come up with them.
Uh-huh.
And so let's see.
Wonderful.
This one's really textured. I got this one up next to the sculpture up in front. And it's this very textured, I must have done a lot of layers on it, but I kind of like it, and partly because it's sort of unique and very textured. But as far as the warm colors, I think it's because I live with them. I have them all over my place, and I just like to feel good. So if I have something disturbing, hard colors and just depressing, I don't like looking at it very often, so I don't want to live with it. So often I'll go over those type of pictures that I do. This one's not in the show either. This was some kind of drawer. This one, I did this big design. I don't know if I had a face in the middle at one point, but it turned into this big design, and I call it, I think the ivy is getting bigger, whatever it was. And so the woman's a little more detailed, and I like the way I painted both of them. So it's like a conversation between them. And this one is over there, and this ended up looking a lot like an old friend of mine to me, and so I have it gives me a little more of a appeal to it. And that, I assume, was me in this daydream, And then, and I got the eyes. There were holes in the board, and I put some kind of washers or something, or bolts or something in there. And this circular thing appears in some of my pictures, and I just assume that's just like the cycle of life, or the mystery of the way things are moving.
Do you sketch anything at all?
Do you sketch at all, or you just
I sketch a lot of them. Yeah, I do. I have sketched a lot of these, and yet I'll go through periods where I don't sketch much at all, and then I just paint them. And this one, I just have a good feeling. This I might have gone over this one many times, and it just turned out this way. And there's a painting on the other side, because that wire, you see, I left on there. But that one has a good feel to me at the moment. It's kind of got a soft feel about it. Yeah.
So as I'm looking around, some of these kind of feel like they were inspired by the material, like there may not have been like a specific thought of an image, but it's like a biscuit man. It's like, oh, I'm going to take this, I think I'll make a man out of it. And then some of it seems like maybe it might be biographical. I'm wondering how much of this is inspired material, how much of this is perhaps biographical, or
Yeah, the material definitely gives you a head start, you know. You look at it, and sometimes you'll see something in the board and not in the board, and you might go, oh, I want to put a face there or whatever. And I don't like to be controlled by that, but yeah, that can definitely, that really helps, because if you have just a canvas, and I've probably done 100 canvases when I was younger, it's kind of intimidating, and you know, where do I start? And anyway, and the boards are, plus if you make a mistake on the board, it's not as much of a problem usually as a piece of canvas. Plus you could throw it away easier since they're all trash anyway, or they're all from, so, and biographical, I guess they are, which I don't think about them, but you know, they're daydreams, so they all come out like they're part of you, you know. This one, I've done some other, this is like Rocket Man over there, so this is a little bit that theme, and I had one years ago called, and I still have it, There Is a Rocket Available, and this one is the guy's on the planet and the rocket's taking off, so he's missed that ride, whatever. But I like, it just sort of happened, I like those little animals, and so it's nice oil paint. It's just a small picture over there. Kind of grayish, but has a good feel about it, I think. And this one went through a lot of different processes, and I think a lot of oil enamel on there. See that shiny color is the shiny pictures are oil enamel, which I use outdoors now. I used to use it all the time inside, but it's bad for your health. And luckily, I figured that out way back in the 90s sometime. So this one, I just stopped at some point after going over it many times and liked it at this point. And you see, this might have been on the back of something, I don't know, but you see all these different panels and things, so that might be, there might be a painting on the other side of that. There's a lot of paintings on the back sides of these. This has got an oil can on it, and a man and a woman, and it reminds me of some of my magician pictures, but it's not supposed to be a magician particularly, and it's a landscape, and so I don't know the story, but I figure there's a story there, so that's what I call it, something like story with oil can. But I like everything about it, I guess. I like the woman too, and the little house in the back. And this one didn't make the cut either, but I liked all this red. It just didn't make the show, but when I did it, I thought, oh man, this is fantastic, you know, when I framed it and everything, but I still like it, but it just didn't make the show. There's only so much space. Let's see, and this was the one I was talking about over there with the other nice color, I thought. And he just looks like a nice person, I thought. Let's see.
When you say didn't make the cut, did you have some judge these for you?
No, I did it. I just picked what I wanted to put up, and then some of them just, you know, I didn't have enough room. I didn't want to put them too close together, so, this one didn't make the cut either, but this is kind of funny, where either the muscle man is daydreaming about the woman or the woman's daydreaming about the muscle man. So I call it Muscle Man Daydream or something like that, yeah. So I thought it was funny when it happened. I think it just sort of, you know, I drew it out and then thought of that. I thought it was funny. This was an old one that I went back into, and this is not in the show either, but I went back into it with this turquoise, and it brought it back to life for me, and I do like it. Let's see. Yeah, this is in the show. This is some up there, and this is a piece of wood from my brother-in-law has a tree farm out in Walhanding, which is out up between Mount Vernon and Coshocton, and he had this shack that covered the firewood and to keep the rain off of it, but he ripped it apart and had all these boards. So I started breaking them up, and I've got them at my place, and this is just one of the few that I've painted on. And those horses I had done before, and I stuck it on there. So I like being out in the woods. I like going to Hawken Hills and being in the woods, and so I like thinking about it. This woman over here, happy long-haired woman, I call it, and there's a lot of spots on it, but it has a good feel to me. And then when I framed it, I thought, oh, this is fantastic. And at times, I think there's a bit too much going on, but I don't want to change it. I like it. And I think she's pretty. And maybe someone I know inspired it a little bit, because this one woman who came into Milo was going to get a place there, had this incredible long hair. It's the most coolest long hair. And I didn't try to paint her, but I think it might have had some influence. Let's see. This one's not in the show either, but I like it. And I like the way that woman has got a block for her head there. This owl, I have a book, alphabet book. Maybe some of you have it, but and my friend Jane Reese put together, and we didn't have a picture for O, and I tried this owl. It didn't end up in the book, I don't think, but someone left a bunch of these popsicle sticks, and so I made the owl out of that, and there's a piece of wood on the left side, and I may frame it someday, but for now I don't I haven't done that, but let's see. And this is my trash man, where I was cleaning my place, and all of these things, everything in the body, were just scraps. And I was cleaning them out, and I thought, oh, okay, let's throw them all in the trash. And I saw the head and neck that was sitting nearby, and I thought, see, once you throw something in the trash, it gives you even more freedom. You'll see. I thought, okay, I'll put the head down. Maybe I can make a body out of all that stuff I just threw away. And I put it together quickly on the floor, and that's great. And I nailed it all together, and here I went from trash to treasure in a few hours. And so I call it the Trash Man, and I just think it's kind of magical, because it just happens so quickly and has a good feel about it. And I left the face exactly the way it was, and I like his pleasant look about him. Yeah, and he's about the same height as me. Someone going, is that you? And I didn't plan it to be me, but it is. Anyway, I really enjoy it. And plus, I enjoy how quickly it came together like that. This one's not in the show either. I Am the Elephant, and this was a pretty quick. It might have been over many paintings, but this part of it came out quickly. And let's go on to that next one. Oh, Mermaid, it's up there, and there's some wood cut on it, and it's oil paint, and I've done a lot of mermaids. I don't know why particularly, but occasionally I'll do a mermaid. I did one of my first paintings was a mermaid in 1983 on wood, one of my first paintings on wood, and I still like it a lot, so maybe that's partly why. Maybe it's just the fantasy part of it, and ocean and woman, and I've done lots of alligators, and this one didn't take too much work. I left, it's mainly just a drawing with oil blue enamel, and then coloring it in with that green, and putting that board on the top. And so it's kind of simple, but I like it. Let's see. Oh, there we are, back to this one. So, yeah, I like this. I was sick when I was doing it, too. I had some kind of flu or something, so it was giving me something to do, keep my mind off of it. This, I don't think I'd ever done this unless I'd been working at Milo. I've been working up, like on the 60-foot lift, working on the gutters and putting together the metal with all these screws and things, and using Bondo, and it makes you think and how to put things together. And in the past, years ago, I wouldn't have been able to put this together as well as I've done it now. I mean, I might have somehow gotten it together, but this is pretty sturdy. And so sometimes my work is where I've done, and like scraping. I've scraped houses with a razor scraper, and so I use that on the paintings sometimes to scrape off layers of the paint, and so my work really ties into my art sometimes. This one I did years ago, and then went over it again this last year. This some kind of hubcap or something in the middle, and then the carousel, the horses. So the horses are pretty much the same shapes, I think they were back then, but I changed the colors. Let's see. This guy, I just thought, I had this clipboard thing, and then put another piece of wood there and knocked that out, and I think it's pretty funny. I call him the man with a metal hat. This is one of my sitting pictures. Years ago I started sitting a lot, and it really helped my state of mind to calm down, and it just was very helpful, and I still do that quite often. And so I had quite a few of them, and I put 3 in the show. And so this guy's sitting, and then he's, some animals around him there, the elephant and the tiger. And this was in the works for some years, and I cut it down, and then wrote sometimes, because sometimes life does seem too hard at times, so I wrote sometimes, so I think it's the only one that's kind of sad in the show that I can think of, but thankfully those times don't last. Let's see. And this woman, I've tried many times doing a woman with braids, long braids, and it's almost never worked out. And this one, I liked the way it worked out. And this board has been painted over many times with other pictures of probably mostly women. But this one, even though it has a little bit of an unfinished look, I like it. I like the feel of it, and I enjoy it. It's hard for me to do women even when I was a boy. In the coloring books, the girls that we'd be coloring with, they'd be really nice and smooth in between the lines and real pretty, and I'd go, wow, mine are sort of, out the lines and all these checkers and stripes. And this one's not in the show either, but I like it, the guitar player and other things, a bus, and let's see. Oh, this one was started many years ago, this mouse character. And at one point it was called, what was it called? Oh, well, can't remember, but he was saying something. But I've had it around forever, and then this last year I went back into it and changed it a little, and I like it again. So it feels fresh again. It's different than it was, so. I was afraid to go back into it for years, I guess, or very much. And at some point I just thought, well, I was already working on the other side. I got a painting going on the other side that's pretty nice. But All right. And this one's pretty recent, and the framing, I guess I broke it and then stuck it back on there, but I like the awkward feeling of it, and but it was a real fresh feeling about it to me. Let's see. And this character, I think I call it a cartoon-like figure, and I don't know what it looks like, a cat almost, but I like the colors and the block color areas and the weird framing. Sometimes I'll just find scraps that I have around and make the frame out of it. And the quicker the frame comes together, the better usually. And this was some kind of board I found, and there's some kind of a loop for the bird's head, and I like this as a rough piece of wood, and it's a bird up there up front. And this is a horse I'd gone over several times, and then it came about this one, and because I thought, well, I'm not that fond of the one I had, and I got a little rabbit down there. But this one, I just really enjoy it. It's a nice feeling about it.
Inspired from primitive art.
What's that?
Have you inspired your art from primitive art?
Has it been inspired by that?
Primitive.
Yeah, primitive art.
I'm just asking. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think definitely that's what I liked. You know, there was a period back in college, especially, when I didn't take a major at OSU quite right away, but I did an art class as a freshman, maybe a couple of them. But you needed to find a major, and so anyway, I was painting. I was good at doing different art, but nothing was quite hitting it. And then I'd say, well, I like Van Gogh's art. I like some of these naive artists, and then primitive, and it started. I just sort of find my own. This is like I did as a child. If you look at my childhood pictures, they're a lot like this, very much like it. So I found my joy in the open door of creation for me. Before that, I was, I could do realism pretty well. I was one of the best at it, really, at that time, but I was bored with it in a way. I thought, what am I going to get better and better at this? And this is going to be just so technical. It didn't give me the joy. So luckily, because I used to do a lot of cartoons as a kid and all sorts of, so these are a lot like that. This one didn't make the show either, but he's kind of a happy clown. And this one's over the woman's room or men's room, the men's room. And this is that same where there's a woman and a man. I guess it's a man. And then the spiral of life, maybe the mystery of the moment or something. This one didn't make the show either, but this guy is there with a couple little animals, and I like the angular feels about it. That's pretty recent. And this didn't make the show. Kind of a dull portrait, but I thought about putting it in. This too, this was real simple and framed up, and I thought kind of pleasant. This didn't make it in the show either. Guitarist on the back of a horse. That was a small picture, and this one didn't either. Big baby mama. That's some years ago, but I picked it out possibly to be in the show. This one didn't either. This is the back of another painting, but this came out real quickly. I just drew the picture and painted. I think these stripes were already there, and so I called it Man with Designer Shirt. So I thought it was kind of funny. And I had it on the wall for a few minutes, and I thought, no, it's too early. I'm not sure I even, going to like it over time. So I said, sometimes you like them early on, and then you wish you hadn't put it up. So I don't know. This is an old one that I had over there, and it's called, I think I called it Blockhead, because it's some kind of a block of wood of some kind. Oh, this one's not in the show either, but that's some kind of strainer for fruit or something for this lion. Everything is timed perfectly, and coffee, and then there's a hurry man over there. So it's just that I think about that kind of thing, whether the idea that things are timed perfectly. This one didn't make the show either. So lots of wild paint going on there, a big portrait. This is another drawing where I just, had fun drawing, and then it's more like a daydream. So I've got Jesus over there and a rabbit, and so I called it something to do with that. And I like the color, and you got a sad house over there. It's just lots of drawing and painting it in. We had a show at the airport, and they said, well, can you make it an airport theme? So I came up with this. These are all these paint brushes I stuck on there that I had that were all gooped with all this old oil paint, and they were outside, and stuck those on for the trees and knocked out this bird-type airplane or jet, and I call it Free as a Bird airline. But the bottom was giving me lots of problems, and I cut it off and scraped on it, and I think I like it the way it is at the bottom. The top, the whole bunch of the top wasn't full with too much. But it showed at the airport for a while. These are a couple of pictures. I guess I had it the other way around at one point, where the bottom was on the top, and I cut it, and it's big and colorful, and it looked good at Milo, but over here I didn't want to put it up. Oh, this is Jesus on the playground. So it's just a drawing, the idea of a good feeling, maybe, kids playing and stuff. What's that? No, I guess not. But we had a slide. Yeah. I used to be good on the playgrounds, yeah. That was my best subject in school, that and art, yeah, when I was in.
Is your life as an athletic leader in all the games that you were involved in?
I was
that
good. I
come
wasn't a fantastic athlete, but I was.
But do you believe it comes through in the movement and the, I don't know,
Oh,
there's
in the
a sense
art.
of balance, yes.
Yeah, I think, actually, I think it might be the other way around, that my athleticism has been helped a lot by my ability to see flow in visually. Because I even know when I started playing football when I was young, I was like awkward. I didn't realize, or even when I started to play tennis at one point, and I watched one of the better players, and he didn't just jerk around. It was smooth, And visually, I think that's helped me in athletics, is just seeing how things work. But yeah, I guess I was better than most at athletics and playing, and I was a strong kid until I hit my adolescence, and I wasn't as healthy. Let's see. Oh, this one. So I found this plastic and warning light thing that someone, discarded, I guess, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And at some point, I just thought, oh, maybe it could be like a building with a sunset behind it. And so I had this board, and I put it on there, and I did it quickly, and it was too rainy to go outside and put in all this oil enamel, which I was thinking of doing for the sky. But I said, okay, I'll just use this latex. And so I did it quickly and left it that way. So it's a one-shot deal, and I like it that way. It's almost a sketch. But sunset at the facility, it's just some, what is this? A facility, is it a factory or a government thing or what? Who knows? But someone said, oh, that's they thought this was the sea or something. No, that's like a parking lot, or there's even a airplane that flies in there. It's a big facility, so.
Anybody have any thoughts?
I think I need a
Notice
straight
the
jacket.
expression on faces. I just thought you might want to say something, Mimi. What do you think?
Two things that I love what you said. This gives you joy. This art that you're doing gives you joy, and the other didn't. And so you feel the joy and the fun. And I wanted to say another word, playful. And that's a big word in creativity. And you're such a good example, Rick, of a playful, free-spirited, courageous artist who enjoys your own work. You enjoy your own work. And we have a lot of examples of you being a pain in the neck because saying, I don't think I'm finished with this. I still like it. I think, should I tell them the giraffe story? I won't tell it.
No,
See
the
me
giraffe's
later.
the giraffe's better now, and actually Bob back there, he and his
Don't
wife
say
own that giraffe.
See me later if you want to hear it.
All right.
And
Anyway.
I'm going to add to this for a second. My house is filled with Rick's work because the joy and the playfulness, but the intention is there. So every work, like I feel like every piece has a story when I'm there, like lives in my house. And, and there's things on the back and there's things on, and it just reminds me every day that the serendipity of what we find and where we go, and the joy. It never fails to make me happy.
Yeah, I do. I love it, It's very natural for me. I don't even try at it. It just happens. I'll go, well, I don't know. I'll go look at the pictures over here, and then I go, well, I think I'll put some paint over here. Sometimes I'll just be painting for hours that way. Oh, this one is I think drew it out and painted. It was kind of a mystery, a lot of abstract shapes and stuff, but I think it has a real good feel about it. And I like this sky down here. It looks very nice. And a bus back there and bird. Oh, maybe that's it. I guess so. That was it.
Hasn't this been wonderful? Oh, Rick Borg. As
All right,
Mimi
well-
says, you call us to a world of joy
Thanks for putting up with
and
me.
humor and delight. Oh, putting up with? Dancing with. There were two images of Jesus that you brought forth. I have to tell you, my husband and I have been in New Orleans, and Steamboat Willie was playing in one of the places we were in. And he called forth, does anyone, because it was Christmas Day, anyone want me to play anything? And my husband said, Silent Night. Never heard Silent Night like that. We danced, and I thought, that image of Jesus in the midst of all the people dancing and moving, it was wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's see. We have an announcement here from our very own Todd Camp.
Thanks, everybody. Rick, thank you so very much for being here. I came to Columbus in 1985 and saw some of Rick's work back then and have been a fan ever since. And we are just so fortunate to have this legend of an artist in our midst and in the gallery. I invite everybody to come tomorrow evening from 6 to 8 and the opening reception for Rick, and also for Melissa Vogley Woods, who is our artist in residence, who will have her exhibition on the 3rd floor. So hopefully you could join us then. It's a wonderful, hopefully no snow and all of that coming. So we'll see you then. Thank you.